Okay. Last time, you finally understood Konjunktiv 2. It became the language of daydreams, the little parallel universe where you imagine a different reality. You pictured yourself standing in front of that expensive jacket in Berlin, quietly wishing you could buy it. And for the first time, everything actually made sense. Then German decided to surprise you. You opened another grammar book, looked at the next example, and suddenly saw a single word that made all your confidence disappear. Kaufte. Not WÜRDE kaufen, just Kaufte. For a second, your brain probably asked the exact same question mine did. Wait, isn't Kaufte just the simple past? Did I misunderstand everything? Is there another Konjunktiv 2 nobody told me about? Don't worry. You didn't learn the wrong thing. The confusing part isn't you. It's simply that German has two different doors leading to exactly the same room. And today, we're going to open both of them. Imagine you're standing in front of two paths. At first glance, they look completely different. But if you keep walking, both quietly lead to exactly the same place. Konjunktiv 2 works like that. The first path is probably the one you've already learned. Wurde plus infinitive. Ich würde kaufen. I would buy. It's simple, predictable, comfortable. Once you learn the pattern, you can almost use it with any verb. But then, German quietly shows you another path. Instead of saying würde kaufen, it sometimes simply says ich kaufte. Different appearance? Exactly the same dream. Exactly the same meaning. And honestly, that's the moment where most learners begin wondering whether they've accidentally skipped an entire chapter. The strange part is that Kaufte already has another job. You've seen it before as the simple past tense. So naturally, your brain asks, how can one word describe something that already happened and also something that isn't even real? That's actually the same problem German speakers noticed many years ago. Older German relied much more heavily on these traditional Konjunktiv 2 forms. But over time, many of them started looking exactly like ordinary past tense. People kept wondering, is this reality? Or is this imagination? Did this happen yesterday? Or is it only hypothetical? The lines slowly became blurry. And when language becomes confusing, people usually don't make it more complicated. They make it simpler. So German speakers gradually began choosing something that immediately tells your brain, this isn't reality. This is only imagination. This is a hypothetical situation. That little helper was WÜRDE. I actually love this part of the story. People often imagine grammar as something cold, strict, and unchangeable, as if every rule had been carved into stone centuries ago. But language has always belonged to ordinary people, and ordinary people naturally move toward whatever feels clearer, easier, and less confusing. German speakers weren't trying to invent prettier grammar. They were simply trying to make conversations smoother. Honestly, I think every language does exactly the same thing. Of course, not every old form disappeared. A small group decided to stay. And chances are, you've already met them. Wäre, hätte, könnte, müsste, dürfte, sollte, wollte. These forms never really left everyday German. You'll hear them in cafes, in text messages, in conversations between friends, on television, almost everywhere. They survived because they still sound natural to native speakers. They've simply become part of the rhythm of the language. So let's imagine you're back in Berlin. You're standing in front of that beautiful jacket again. Would a German understand if you said, Ich kaufte diese Jacke? Probably. But it sounds a little formal, a little literary, almost like a sentence that escaped from a novel. Most people would naturally say, Ich würde diese Jacke kaufen. And that's probably the most comforting thing you'll hear today. Real German is often much simpler than grammar books make it seem. So let's go back to where we started. You're standing in front of the shop window. You look at the jacket. Then you check your bank account. You smile a little and sigh. Wenn ich reich wäre, würde ich diese Jacke kaufen. Wäre stayed. Würde kaufen became the easier path. And together, they create a sentence that feels natural, comfortable, and unmistakably human. Because that's really what language has always been. Not a collection of perfect rules, but millions of people quietly choosing the version that makes communication easier. So the next time you see würde, don't think of it as a shortcut. Think of it as the path that generations of German speakers naturally chose themselves. Take your time. You're doing beautifully. And I'll see you in the next